The cafeteria buzzed with laughter and chatter that afternoon, sunlight spilling across the long, polished tables where groups of teenagers huddled together. Amid the noise and smell of pizza slices and French fries, a single tray rattled nervously in the trembling hands of a girl no one had ever seen before. She was small, quiet, and looked out of place, her brown hair falling loosely over her shoulders, her eyes darting around like a deer caught in headlights. Her name was Soraya, and it was her very first day at Westwood High. But within minutes of entering that cafeteria, before she could even sit down, 3 boys at a table near the center, loud, cocky, and known for their cruelty, spotted her. With smirks that dripped arrogance, they began whispering, then laughing, and soon their voices carried across the room. They made fun of her old-fashioned clothes, her cheap sneakers, the way she hunched as if trying to disappear. Their laughter grew bolder, sharp like daggers in the air, until the whole cafeteria turned its attention toward the trembling new girl. And then something happened, something no one in that room would ever forget. Before I take you deeper into this emotional story, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of standing strong even when the world mocks you, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with others, and don't forget to subscribe to Fearless Grace. Your support helps us continue telling stories that inspire hearts every single day. Soraya stood frozen in the middle of the cafeteria, her tray balanced on shaky hands, her face turning red. She wanted to vanish. She wanted to hide in the bathroom until the bell rang, but she had promised herself that this time, this new school, this new beginning, she wouldn't run. She had been through too much to crumble now. Just 6 months earlier, she had lost her father in a car accident that left her entire world shattered. Her family had moved to Westwood for a fresh start, hoping distance from memories might ease their grief. But grief, like a shadow, had followed her here. As the boys laughed, one of them, the tallest, Marcus, known for his cruel streak, stuck his leg out slightly, ready to trip her if she dared to walk past. His friends, Bryce and Landon, slapped the table, egging him on. Soraya's heart pounded as her throat tightened. She tried to keep walking, but her foot brushed the edge of Marcus's sneaker, and suddenly the tray slipped. A soda toppled, spilling across the floor. A slice of pizza hit the ground with a splat. Gasps and snickers filled the room. Soraya's hands trembled violently as tears burned in her eyes. She bent down to pick up the pieces, but the boys' voices pierced deeper. "Careful, cafeteria girl," Bryce sneered. "Don't want you tripping over your own shadow." Landon laughed, adding, "Those shoes look like they came straight out of a thrift store dumpster." Marcus leaned closer, his voice a cruel whisper that carried nonetheless. "Maybe you should just eat on the floor. It suits you better." The cafeteria erupted with scattered laughter. Some students turned away uncomfortable, while others watched like it was free entertainment. Not one person stepped forward to help. But then, something inside Soraya shifted. She stopped reaching for the pizza slice. Her back straightened, her trembling slowed, and for the first time in months, her eyes lifted with a fire that stunned even herself. She wasn't just a grieving girl in second-hand shoes. She wasn't invisible. She had a voice, and she would use it. Slowly, Soraya rose to her feet. The room quieted, sensing a change. Her tear-filled eyes locked on the 3 boys, and in a voice that carried farther than anyone expected, she said, "You think you know me because of my shoes, because of my clothes. You think you can measure my worth by the way I walk into this room. You don't know the first thing about me." The cafeteria stilled. Even the clatter of trays stopped. Soraya took a shaky breath and continued. "6 months ago, I lost the person who believed in me more than anyone in the world. My dad told me before he died that I would have to face people who laughed at me, who tried to tear me down. He told me never to let their voices drown out my own. So go ahead, laugh at my clothes, laugh at my shoes, laugh at the way I carry myself. But don't you dare think for a second that your words define me." The cafeteria hung on every syllable. Her voice cracked, but her courage soared. For the first time, Marcus, Bryce, and Landon sat stunned, unable to laugh. Then Soraya did something none of them expected. She walked to the center of the room, climbed up onto one of the empty benches, and stood tall. "You want to make me the joke of the cafeteria," she said, her voice trembling yet strong. "Fine. Then hear this. I may be new, I may be different, but I'm not weak. And if anyone else in this school has ever felt small, has ever felt mocked or unwanted, you need to know something. You are more than their laughter. You are more than their cruelty. You are enough." Her words sliced through the silence like lightning. A few students clapped nervously, then more joined. Soon the cafeteria that had once mocked her erupted in applause. Students rose to their feet cheering, some even shouting her name. The three boys sat frozen, their smug grins erased. For once they weren't in control. They had been silenced not by force, but by courage. Soraya stepped down from the bench, her face flushed but her eyes glowing with strength. A girl from another table, shy and small like her, approached and whispered, "Thank you." Another boy came over, offering her his untouched sandwich as a peace gesture. And just like that, the tide had turned. Over the weeks that followed, Soraya became more than the new girl. She became a voice for the quiet ones, the overlooked, the ones who had been laughed at in corners and hallways. Her courage rippled across the school, reminding everyone that words could break, but they could also heal. The three boys who had mocked her were forced to confront the shame of their actions. Marcus avoided her eyes for weeks. Bryce stopped laughing so loudly at others. Landon even muttered an apology one afternoon, unable to erase the image of her standing tall on that cafeteria bench. But the most remarkable change wasn't in them. It was in the students who had witnessed it all. They began standing up for one another more often, whispering less, supporting more. The cafeteria itself felt different, less like a stage for cruelty and more like a place where kindness might have a chance. Soraya never forgot the fear she felt that day, the weight of every mocking word. But she also never forgot the way courage had bloomed inside her like a spark that refused to die. She carried it with her, day after day, reminding herself and everyone who crossed her path that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply refuse to stay silent. And in that cafeteria, on that ordinary afternoon filled with laughter and spilled soda, she transformed not just her own story, but the heartbeat of an entire school. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with friends, and subscribe to Fearless Grace. Your support helps spread stories that remind the world of the power of kindness, courage, and hope. And before you go, here's a special request. Leave a comment below with one word that describes how this story made you feel. Was it hope, strength, courage? I'd love to read your thoughts, because sometimes one story, one moment, can remind us all that even in the face of cruelty, light will always find its way through.